Hey folks, in previous video on C programming, we saw basics of C programming and other fundamentals of a programming language like their levels. Then after covering different levels, we saw a first basic program of C, compiled it and see how it gets executed. Now in this video, we will be going to cover the details of C programs, starting with anatomy of C program, and then we'll be trying to link our concepts we saw in previous videos with this video and other basic concepts of C. And any C program will look like the left hand part of this slide that begins, ideally it should begin with a program header comment. This comment basically helps the reader to understand the program. Then some preprocessor directive if required, like this statement #include stdio.h. A preprocessor directive we identify in C program by this hash at the first column in any line. And after preprocessing directive in C program, there should be at least this function that is called as main function, and there can be many more functions, but for simplicity initially we'll be having only main function. Program header comment, it begins with these two characters and end with the reverse order of those two characters, and generally these comments are ignored by compilers. Whatever you are writing in the comments, these are helpful for users and compiler ignores them. Like in this program, this comment, first few lines where this file name, author and all this will be ignored by compiler. This is just for users or readers of the program. A preprocessor directive is processed by preprocessor part of compiler. And for this directive, like this #include stdio.h, basically the preprocessor will include the content of this header file into the C program at this stage. We need to include this because we are using some functions from this library, like printf function used to print the hello world in the previous program. So we need to include these header files, and these are included by this preprocessor directive. After some time, we'll also see another preprocessor directive. This is a header file that helps us to include the function or use the functions of libraries. And we need to use it because sometimes there are some function or some functionality used quite frequently and we cannot write them again and again. So instead of rewriting the same things again and again, frequently required things we will be writing in the form of a library and then try to reuse them using such header files and library functions. In every C program, there should be a main function, and this function basically holds the execution of the program. From the first line of main function, program's execution begins and it terminates at the last line of the main. This int before main is a reserved word that indicates that this main function will be returning an integer value, and the parenthesis after this main, this is by parenthesis I mean this bracket, this tells that this main is a function, and this void, it says that there is nothing inside the main function. By nothing means there is no parameter, we need not to pass anything to main at the moment. And I have used a reserved word here. By reserved word I mean we cannot use these words for any other purpose in program. Soon we will see a detail on this. A function's body begins with a curly bracket or we call it as a left braces. And from the curly bracket, every line is part of this function until we see a closing curly bracket or right braces. And generally, after the opening braces, next few lines should be 3 to 4, after 3 to 4 space from the same column. We call it as an indentation, just like here. After this curly braces, next lines are a bit ahead of it in columns, so that it should be better readable. Printf, we saw this function and this statement in previous program. This is a simple C statement, and this is a call to this printf function from header file stdio.h. This function prints the string passed to it after in the parenthesis on the screen, and this is why we saw the output hello world when we executed this program. Every C function ends with the semicolon. Every C statement should end with the semicolon. Next C statement in this program was return 0. Actually, as we have written that int main void, so main should return an integer value. So at the end we are returning 0, and ideally returning 0, it means that program executed successfully, and this value is returned to operating system because we are calling program from operating system. So let's see how can we check this, whether this value is actually returned to operating system or not. It will be just a brief demo. Again, same program and same screen where we compiled it. Let's recompile it once again. Program executed and its output hello world is on a screen. Now to see this return value 0, it is returned to operating system, and operating system Linux keep it in a variable that we can access using $?. Now you can see it has displayed 0. Let's change this 0 to some other number. Since I changed the program, I need to compile it again. Now I execute it. Output is same, but this return value should be 8 now. And as we can see, it is 8. So this is written, and 0 value is successful, signal of successful. For failure we use non-zero value. Here 8 value I just use for demo. Now we'll write another C program, and this is a simple program that will ask user to input 2 integer value and it will display their addition. So now this main function has a bit more lines in comparison to the previous program. Here we are declaring 3 variables. Don't worry about them right now. Soon we will see details on this. Then printf, we are displaying a message for user that enter 2 integer value, and then user will input 2 values, and then it is computing their sum. This scanf is again a function, and it asks value from user. So it waits for the user until user type 2 numeric value, because we have asked user to input numeric value by this symbol %d, and then we computed its sum. This is assignment operator, not equality. This is assigning value plus value to the sum variable. And this printf is a bit different. Here again we are writing a value, so just we use this syntax. Now we'll see further basic concepts of a C program. Here we call it them as a token. Token is the smallest element of C program. It may be a single character or multiple characters. So a token can be a numeric constant like 15, 20, then some character constants like alphabets, string constants like words, then keywords, names like we have given names, value 1, value 2, sum, then punctuation symbols and some operators. By numeric constants, I mean number constant values assigned to some variables. They can only have numbers and dot. By character constant, I mean alphabet or some symbols like dollar, percentage, less than, greater than, a number. When these are in single quotation mark, they are called as character constants. String constants are the stream of characters enclosed in double quotes like these examples, and they are treated as single value. There is a special words in C which are called reserved words or keyword. They are part of C language and we cannot use them for any other purpose. Soon we'll see various reserved words. Then names or identifiers. These are the values that we can assign for our purposes. Soon we'll see. Mostly they are begin with letters, digits or underscore, but they cannot start with digits and underscore because underscore is reserved for C library. By punctuations, I mean these symbols like semicolon, colon, comma, quotation marks, and 3 type of brackets. C contains a lot of operators. Some of them we already saw in a program, but soon we will see each of them one by one in subsequent videos. Next is the variables in C. A variable in C has same meaning like variables in algebra from mathematics. But in mathematics, the variables usually are of one character. But in C, we are permitted to have as many characters as we wish, but C only identify first 31 of them. A variable should not begin with a digit and it should not be a C reserved word. These are the reserved words in C. We cannot use them for any other purpose except their original meaning. And generally, to define a variable name, it should be meaningful, and for multiple words, we prefer to join them with change of case or use of underscore. Like for surface area, we can have 3 different convention, but whatever you follow, be consistent with that. This is another preprocessor directive hash define where we defined constant as a named constant or symbolic constant. Like here we are defining a value to pi and another value to age variable, and we can in the program we can use pi word, and a preprocessor directive will change all those pi with this value before compiling the program. C, remember that C is a case sensitive language, so all these different name for area are different variable for C. Now let's have a small description and consideration of the concepts we discussed. For a legal identifier or variable name, we can use only numbers, alphabets and underscore, but it should not begin with number. So these crossed are the wrong variables and others are correct variables. And for variables, before using it, we need to declare it. And this is all for this video.